Hey guys, Carry50 here with another review. This time I'll be reviewing the Henshin Belt Deluxe Build Driver and Full Bottle Holder set from Kamen Build. This is a special set containing the contents of both the Build Driver, Kamen Build's belt, as well as the Full Bottle Holder, the holder for this year's key items, all in one box. So the components of the Build Driver are the Build Driver itself, 2 full bottles, which are this year's key items, as well as a set of belt straps. And the full bottle holder comes with the holder itself and 1 full bottle. Now, before getting into the review, I just want to remind you guys that if you are subscribed, please make sure that you are still subscribed and that YouTube hasn't automatically unsubscribed you or something like that. And if you are, also make sure to click that bell icon next to my channel name so that you are notified whenever I upload a new video. With that out of the way, let's get started. First, we'll look at the 3 included full bottles, which are the Rabbit full bottle and Tank full bottle from the Build Driver, and the Soji full bottle from the full bottle holder. So, these are the new key item or gimmick item for the year, and they're these little bottles that are put into the belt to activate the transformations. So, full bottles come in 2 types, organic materials and inorganic materials. And they also have something called a best match, which is a second full bottle that they go along with in order to make a proper form. You can see that as indicated by the bottle caps on top, which have a special sticker with the first letter of the 2 bottles used for the best match. In the case of RabbitTank, we can see an R and T on both, to indicate that these 2 make a best match. So first off, we have the Rabbit full bottle, as you can see has a red ball cap, and is done up in the shape of a rabbit. You can see the rabbit's head down here with ears up here, and then it even has a little carrot symbol in the middle. Within each full bottle, there's also a plastic piece meant to resemble liquid, to give off the illusion that it's actually filled up with something. And these can also be shaken to shake the inside piece and make a sound. And that actually plays into the names of the full bottles, as the full part is actually a pun on the Japanese word furu, meaning shake. And so these are both balls that are full of something, as well as balls that you furu or shake. And the ball caps can also be twisted around like so, which is basically part of the gimmick where in the show, when they're not ready to be used, they have the ball cap twisted off the side, and then straightened out when they're ready. You also have a QR code on the side, but unlike with the past couple of years, this is not used for an online collection, but instead is just used for the Kamen Battleground by Rising games, to scan them in and use these balls in the game. The second is the Tank full ball. This one is done up in a pale clear blue. You can see the tank here, with the main bite here, and then the actual gun barrel extending outwards like this, along with some details on the sides. Once again, you can see the bottle cap up here, which is also a nice blue. This one can also be shaken up, like so. Then third, we have the Soji or vacuum cleaner full bottle. So this one, we have a ball cap up here that's kind of a metallic sea green. You can see that for its matching, or for its best match, the other one will be a full bottle starting with L. And for those of you who know what that full bottle is, please don't spoil it in the comments. Then you can see it down here, which is also a very pale sea green, with the symbol of, or with the design of a vacuum cleaner sucking up air on the front. So for each of these, the basic idea is that the parts for the bottom and top as well as the bottle cap are the same, but the middle part is unique for each of them. Next, we'll look at the actual build driver itself. So this is mainly black with some bits of red and silver, and as you can see, this has a very mechanical look to it. You can see this nice chrome gear here, which is smartly behind a clear plastic bubble, meaning that this will not get damaged over time. You also see some gears in here behind the plastic screen. A lot of pipes running throughout it. A little steam vent. As well as more vents here in the back. And then this big crank here on the side, which is part of the main gimmick. You also got a little gauge here, as well as Bill's symbol in this piece. And you got the main gimmick here, which is the crank itself, to where if you rotate it, you can see that it both causes this part to spin, as well as rotates the two gears down here. And if you look on the inside, you see the slots for the full balls. They have a couple of pegs. You'll notice raise and lower in pattern, which will also be part of the full effect of the transformation. Also comes with a set of yellow belt straps, which you can see here with the clips on either side, as well as this round looking belt stopper. Now interestingly, the design of the actual belt straps is a bit of a cost-cutting measure that they've done, because these are nearly identical to the straps from the Ghost Driver. As you can see, it's got the same design for the belt clips, as well as the same design on the belt straps. The one little difference is that for the stopper piece, they actually filled in the little line here that was meant to make this look like a closed eye, but besides that, these are identical. Which is something that I think is a little bit rare among main rider belts, because usually you more see that kind of cost-cutting measure among secondary rider belts, so it's interesting to see that done for the main belt. And of course, this connects in the same way as other rider belts lately, where you just clip it into one side and clip it around to the back, just like that. Of course, for the remainder of the review, I'll just set these aside. So, coming around to the back, you can see some more nice details, as well as the power switch and battery compartment. And this takes 3 AAA batteries. So, we get started with the electronics by switching it on. And you'll get a little confirmation sound, as well as this part lighting up. And unlike a lot of previous belts, it does not say its name, which is an interesting change-up. So on its own, there's nothing they can really do, and then turning the crank won't make any sounds. So, that's where we need to bring in the full bottles. So we'll bring them in, shake them up a little bit, twist the bottle caps, then we'll set them in. One thing to note is that the way to set them in is to have these rails go into the slots on the back. So, set in the Rabbit full bottle, then the tank full bottle, and you'll hear it's a best match followed by a standby sound. So, then you're going to want to crank the handle enough to activate the transformation. And then we get the transformation into Kamen Rider build RabbitTank form. So, then we can rotate it another time, and that'll get us our finisher attack.
Ready, go! Voltech Finish!
Then I'm going to switch it off for a little bit so we can get a closer look at the mechanism. So, when you rotate the handle, of course you have these parts that rotate, but also if we look at the balls, you can see the inside pieces raising and lowering due to those pegs I showed you earlier that push a little rod inside that makes the inside piece raise and lower. And so you get the kind of full effect like this, which is very nice to look at. Now another thing to note is that you can actually put these in the opposite slots and it'll still work. Now, technically, you don't have to rotate this all the way. You can rotate just a little bit, and it'll move all the way.
Ready, go! Voltech Finish!
That being said, I really don't like seeing people do it, and it's not something I like doing myself, because when you take away the whole visual thing of having these parts spinning and these parts raising and lowering, it kind of devalues the toy, and it just feels unsatisfying to do, in my personal opinion. So we can also bring in the Sojiki full ball, and use that alongside the Rabbit full ball, since the basic idea is to have one organic and one inorganic bottle, with the organic one being on the left and the inorganic being on the right. And that'll create Build's trial form of Rabbit Sojiki form, with the trial form being the name of anything that's not best match. And then we can also activate the finish here. And so you can see that for a best match, it'll activate the Voltech Finish, whereas for a trial form, it'll activate the Voltech Attack. And technically, we're not limited to just using a organic and inorganic. We can also do a combination of two organics or two inorganics. And now I'm just going to give you one more look at the transformation for RabbitTank, this time close up so you can get the full view of what's going on. Next, we have the full ball holder. So this is a pretty simple plastic piece that just clips onto the belt and lets you hold up to 3 full balls at once. Now obviously the design is very reminiscent of the shift car holder, and it does make sense since they all work on a similar rail. And they also have a similar system where they use these pins on the back to activate the sounds in the belt. And so for this, you can take your full ball, then slide in here where it will lock in place, and you can add on 2 more. And there you go. Though honestly, I wish they had changed the amount from 3 to 4, just because with this app you have enough for one best match and then a third one for a trial form, whereas if you had up to 4, it would allow you to have 2 best matches on the holder, which I think would work out a lot better. And finally, as a bonus, if you manage to pick up the build driver early from a site like CS Toys or Hobbyland Japan, then you also got a Kamen Rider build Gashat as a bonus. This is a special campaign item. It's obviously a Gashat based on Kamen Rider build in his RabbitTank form. You can see the sticker here with Kamen Rider build and him right there. You can see it's stylized similarly to the Legend Rider Gashats. Have the name on the side, and of course this is a red and blue Gashat, which does make it similar to the Insect Wars Kabuto Gashat, but if we look pretty closely, we can see that while the reds are pretty much the same, the build Gashat has a slightly darker blue than the Kabuto Gashat, so they're not entirely identical. Next we get to the sound, so starting with the name activation. We actually get the announcer from the build driver instead of the normal Gashat announcer, followed by the BGM for the RabbitTank form. Then you get... And after that... And I'm pretty sure this one doesn't have the game over sound. Then we'll look at it from the back. And there you go. Next, we can use this with the Deluxe Gamer driver. And it has the level 1 standby, which is a combination of both the ones for the Legend Riders and the normal Riders, since he's technically not a Legend Rider, since that applies to previous Kamen Riders rather than current ones. So then we have the level up sound. And that's a simple remix of the My Action X Level 2 theme. Then we'll do it for Level 3. And unfortunately, it only has one level up sound, but this is a promo campaign Gashat, so there weren't going to be too many sounds in it. And finally, I'll show you guys some clips of this when used with the different, or the other different items that you can use Gashats with. And there we go. So overall, the build driver is interesting, if not a little bit odd. Compared to last year's game driver, it certainly is nice to have the electronics back in the belt, but they seem more downplayed this year, with not having all too many different sounds, at least that we've seen so far. and it seems like there is a bit more effort putting into adding in a little bit more in terms of what visually goes on with the belt, what with the spinning gears as well as the raising and lowering of the pieces inside the full balls. And so that might be a little bit off-putting some people, but it certainly is quite interesting, and it does add something unique that makes it stand out a little bit more than a typical rider belt. It also is a bit more involved with the cranking of the lever, but I think that can at the same time be kind of a bit more enjoyable than simply pressing a button or opening up or pulling a lever and just letting the toy go from there. And that's kind of why I said I don't like it when I see people just kind of ignoring the cranking of the gears, because that is really part of the overall package. Is you don't just get a toy with lights and sounds, you also get a visual experience, and that really helps make it look like a real piece of machinery, because you can really see it working. You can see the gears turning and the machine actually doing stuff. The full balls are also pretty interesting. While I don't do too much on their own, it is nice that they each have a unique design for the middle part, and they are actually pretty fun to just shake around. And that definitely goes along with their name, as I explained earlier. Now, as far as the set goes, obviously, if you get the build driver on its own, you're really not going to be able to do too much, because you'll just be able to make the RabbitTank best match. So I'd say at least try to pick up the full ball holder to go along with it, so you have a bit of variety in what you can do play-wise. Though I actually might be a little bit cautious about buying this set specifically, just because with the way that it's packaged, it came in a longer box than if you were to buy these two individually. So it may actually be cheaper on shipping to buy these separately, yet together, if you get what I'm saying. But if you're interested in build, or you're interested in a rider belt that does a little bit more than just make lights and sounds, then this might be worth picking up. So, next time I'll be reviewing the Deluxe Gorilla Mond Full Ball Set. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and your thoughts down in the comments, and if you're new and would like to see more, please subscribe. And for now, this is Karo50, riding off.